Hi, everyone. My name is Juan Gonzales. I am a fourth grade teacher in Dickinson, Texas, and I am so excited to be here with you today to talk about Dragons in a Bag. The book Dragons in a Bag is a story about a boy named Jax who has to spend his day with a family friend that they call Ma. While his mom is away dealing with some personal issues, he has to spend this day with Ma, who he doesn't really know very well. And so as he enters her apartment in Brooklyn, he starts to find all these little things about Ma and starts piecing some things together. And so it begins our adventure of fantasy and magic. And we discover a whole lot of things that he wasn't ready for, especially some dragons in a bag. From the very beginning, what's exciting about this book is that the mystery begins. And so the students knew that the title of the book has dragons in it. So they know there was some type of fantasy associated with it, but we didn't know how it was going to connect to the beginning of the story. And so in the beginning, the author does a fantastic job of just keeping the mystery about what is it about Ma? What is it in her apartment? And when is the magic going to come? When are the dragons going to come? And so instantly the kids are hooked. For me as a teacher, when I share books with students, I'm always finding ways to connect it to all areas of academics. So when sharing fantasy stories with students, there's always the ability to get them to enjoy creative writing. And in this book, the author does such a fantastic job of using creative descriptions to really set the scenes for the readers to understand all of the magic and the things that are happening in the story. When reading Dragons in a Bag, a way that you can extend this into writing is that when our main characters are actually traveling through dimensions, our main character asks, how do we know where we're going? We're just going into this room and it's taking us to different places. And so the person that he's traveling with says, it's all about intentions. What do you intend? What do you think about? And whatever we're intending, whatever our intentions are, it takes us to that dimension. And so what a cool way to have students practice descriptive writing by thinking about what would their intentions be if they were stuck in a time traveling portal? What would they think about in order to take them to another dimension? So in the book, the word intention is used a lot. And I think that's a great word to discuss with students because it's all about understanding who we are. And I think working in upper elementary with students and they start kind of coming into their own, using a word like intention and having them practice paying attention to their thoughts and their actions and why they do the things they do can be a powerful social and emotional lesson that you could do with a whole class or just a student one-on-one. Using art is always one of my favorite ways for students to connect to the stories we read. So many times as teachers, we want them to write about their reading, but sometimes letting them visually express what they're thinking in their head can be such a great gateway to seeing what they're understanding from the text. And so again, because this book has such great descriptive language, allowing us to pull out sentences or really great scenes from the book and having students turn it into a graphic novel or just a scene from the book and how it looked in their head can be a really great way to connect the readers to the story. For me, the books that I choose to share with my students, I make a conscious effort to make sure that not only do they reflect the students that are sitting in my classroom, but everybody who exists in our world. One of the reasons I chose to read this book is when I saw the cover, I saw an African-American young boy on the book, and it's a story of fantasy. And we don't ever get to see that, especially me being a Mexican-American. And I love the stories of fantasy and magic and how often do we see ourselves represented in this genre. And so for me, that was the first instinct of me wanting to pick up this book and read. And so I think it's such a great book for representation and showing that everybody can experience magic and creatures and dragons. The big takeaway that I want readers to have from this story is that knowing who you are and being different and knowing your history helps you become who you're meant to be. I enjoyed reading Dragons in a Bag with my students because it had magic, dragons, and so many great life lessons. I hope that you enjoy reading Dragons in a Bag as much as we did.